Well, we know Angel Reese has definitely been in the headlines, man, after erupting in a press conference, pretty much swearing at reporters. And I'm here to tell you today is another day of the Angel Reese drama because she has simply smacked the clipboard out of an assistant coach's hands. Yes, now all of this went down during the Washington missed this game. This happened on national television.
She's the brand new cover athlete for NBA 2K26. She's a role model to millions, with her own signature shoe and a platform that most athletes only dream of. But on national television, in the final seconds of a critical game, all of that was overshadowed by one shocking act of disrespect. Angel Reese stormed to the sidelines and furiously slapped a clipboard straight out of the hands of a member of her own team's staff. This wasn't just a moment of frustration, it was a public meltdown that has everyone asking if the Bayou Barbie is a leader or a liability her team can no longer afford.
By the way, the referees blew every whistle. The referees blew every whistle. Like, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. There was one play where Angel Reese dribbled backwards. She backed into Aaliyah Edwards and tripped over her own feet and got free throws. The free throws that led to this happening were unbelievably soft. That led to Angel Reese breaking a coach's clipboard, walking over and slapping a coach's clipboard. And by the way, if this was Caitlin Clark, you just know they'd be calling out her anger problem.
It all went down during the Chicago Sky's nail-biting game against the Washington Mystics on July 6th. With the game on the line and the clock ticking down, Reese was at the center of the action, but not for the reasons her team needed. After a critical play sent the Mystics to the foul line, Reese stormed off the court, her face a mask of pure fury. In a stunning display of disrespect, she walked directly toward the bench, zeroed in on Ann Crosby, the team's vice president of basketball operations and strength and conditioning, and slapped a clipboard straight out of her hands.
A lot of people are picking up on is when she is walking over to the bench and she slaps the clipboard out of her coach's hand. And you guys, my honest reaction to this when I first saw it, I was just laughing. It's kind of like the reaction that you're seeing from me right here. I wouldn't look into this too hard. I know it's already become controversial because they're like, oh, if another player did this, there would be think pieces written about it. And
it wasn't a stumble or an accident in the heat of the moment. It was a deliberate, aggressive act, a public meltdown broadcast in high definition for all to see. The moment was so jarring that it immediately overshadowed everything else that had happened in the game, leaving fans, commentators, and even her own organization in stunned silence.
Are you okay? Are you okay, Barbie? The emotional decline continues for Angel Reese. The temper tantrums, the complete loss of emotional control continues for the Bayou Barbie, as well as the Chi-Town Barbie and Double Barbie, and whatever other alias that Angel Reese has decided to give her.
But to understand how we got here, you have to look at the moments that led to the explosion. This wasn't a random act of frustration. It was the climax of a pressure cooker situation. With just 29.9 seconds left on the clock, the game was tied 77-77. The tension in the arena was thick enough to cut with a knife. The Sky were fighting for their lives, not just in this game, but in a season that was quickly slipping away from them. It was then that a controversial foul was called on Chicago, a call that sent the Mystics to the free throw line with a chance to take the lead.
It was wild, all right? It was wild. I mean, tempers were flying. This was an all-out rivalry, man. All right? I mean, even Angel Reese was pissed at this moment. Look at this. Pissed. All right? Pissed. This was close to the end of the game. 29 seconds left. Game tied, game on the line, and I think she was called for.
For Reese, who had been battling all night and had already been to the line an astonishing 15 times herself, this was the final straw. That single whistle from the referee lit a fuse that had apparently been burning all game long. This outburst wasn't just about one bad call, it was the boiling point of a season-long saga of frustration, and the clipboard was simply the casualty of a much larger war being waged within Reese herself.
Angel always talks about being willing to do whatever dirty work is necessary. Did you see that today? Did you see a performance that, in terms of the timeliness and the types of plays that she made, it went beyond the stat sheet?
Yeah, I think that's who Angel is, in the best way. I think that that's what her skill set allows her to be. That we shouldn't just look at her as a rebounder or just as a scorer. There's so many different things that she can do on a court that helps a team win. And, even though shots weren't falling for her tonight, she had 5 assists. She had huge rebounds down the stretch. And that's the kind of versatility that we see in her. And she's embraced it so far.
Marsh was hired specifically because of his track record of building cultures rooted in trust and accountability.
This incident, as shocking as it was, doesn't exist in a vacuum. In fact, it fits perfectly into a pattern of controversy that has followed Angel Reese since she burst onto the national scene. Remember the relentless narrative pitting her as the villain against Caitlin Clark? The constant public complaints about officiating, the combative press conferences where she declared she was done being polite. This clipboard fiasco is just the newest and most brazen episode in what is clearly becoming the Angel Reese show, where team success often feels secondary to individual drama. Championship teams are built on composure and unity, especially in high-pressure moments. But what the world saw from Reese was the exact opposite, an individual who let her emotions completely overpower her judgment, turning a crucial team moment into a spectacle about her own anger.
So Angel Reese, the most toxic player in all of basketball, is out here slapping clipboards out of her coaching staff's hand because she's so mad her team committed a foul in the crunch after she shot 15 free throws this game. This is the lowest of the low disrespect that you can show to your coaching staff. She trying to get y'all locked in, worried about the next play, and you so toxic with your terrible, awful attitude that you slap the clipboard out of her.
When the world looked for an explanation, or perhaps a moment of accountability, what they got was far from an apology. Shortly after the game, Reese took to social media, not to take responsibility for her actions, but to deflect. "Those refs were pissing me off," she posted, with no mention of her shocking behavior toward the team's staff. It was a classic non-apology, shifting the blame entirely onto the officials while ignoring the blatant disrespect she showed. There was no accountability, no remorse, and no acknowledgement of the line she crossed. For a player who talks so much about leadership and setting an example, it was a stunning failure to lead. At this point, her social media posts are starting to sound less like genuine thoughts and more like a rehearsed series of excuses, and fans are beginning to see right through the act.
You guys, Angel Reese had a great game. She had 22 points, 15 rebounds. There were some questionable calls from the referees on both ends of the floor during this game against the Washington Mystics, and they ended up losing by 2 points at the end of the game. And so she's a competitor. Love or hate Angel Reese, she's a competitor. She's a fierce competitor. And I feel like this was just a moment where her frustrations got the best of her. Hopefully, later on, I'm sure she'll probably see this on social media and she'll go up to her coach and be like, my bad, coach. That was not cool of me. I shouldn't have slapped the clipboard.
While Reese was busy blaming the refs, one man was left in an impossible position: rookie head coach Tyler Marsh. Marsh is not just some fill-in coach. He's a coaching prodigy who came to Chicago with a stellar resume. He learned from the best in the business, including Nick Nurse, Rick Carlisle, and Becky Hammon. He has won championships at both the NBA and WNBA level as an assistant, and is known for his calm demeanor and his ability to build what everyone in sports craves: a championship culture. But all of that experience means nothing if you can't control your own locker room. This incident became his first true leadership crisis, and it's a monumental one. Watching his star player disrespect a member of the front office on national television with zero immediate consequences made it look like the inmates were running the asylum.
Why do you guys hate Angel Reese so much? The Angel Reese hate is so forced. This is why we hate the Brick Lane Sloth. She has a terrible attitude, awful, toxic. This is why she has no friend. This is why
Marsh was hired for one specific reason: to build a championship culture rooted in trust and accountability. General Manager Jeff Pagliacca praised his commitment to developing players and his composed leadership, but calm leadership is worthless if it doesn't translate into discipline when it's desperately needed. Great coaches like Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, and Marsh's own mentor Becky Hammon built dynasties because they held everyone accountable, from the last person on the bench to the biggest superstar on the court.
Angel Reese said that she was done being polite. She was done being humble. "I'm done being silent. The Bayou Barbie is mad, mad, mad. And Barbie is about to start clapping back at the haters." To her credit, Angel Reese said what she meant and meant what she.
They understood that talent without character is just potential without purpose. They would have never allowed a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James, or an Aja Wilson to so blatantly disrespect a coach or staff member without facing serious repercussions. This single moment put Marsh's entire philosophy to the test in front of the whole world.
So you just gonna, this woman trying to show you a play, and you just gonna slap the clipboard out of her hand like that on national TV? What a role model. Please stop embarrassing us.
This brings us to the most uncomfortable question of all, the role model paradox. Angel Reese was just announced as the cover athlete for NBA 2K26, an honor reserved for the faces of the sport. She has a signature shoe line with Reebok and countless endorsements. She constantly speaks about being a role model for young girls, about showing them how to be confident and unapologetic. But what message is she sending when she takes out her frustrations on a staff member in front of millions? What lesson is she teaching about handling adversity and disappointment? If this were a rookie or a bench player, they would likely be fined, benched, or even suspended. But because it's Angel Reese, the star who fills seats and generates headlines, there seems to be a different set of rules. It's a dangerous double standard that undermines the very integrity of the team, the league, and the role model image she works so hard to project.
Just something with the Chicago Sky team, like they are not doing well this season. I think that is evident. It doesn't look like they are going to make playoffs. And this was just a moment of frustration at the end of the game. It is funny though when you play the clip over and over. This was a warranted crash out. Like, we can give Angel Reese a pass.
Beyond the team itself, an even bigger question looms: where is the WNBA in all of this? The league has been under an intense microscope all season, with every foul and controversial comment magnified. They were quick to upgrade Kennedy Carter's foul on Caitlin Clark to a flagrant one after public outcry. Yet, when it comes to Reese slapping a clipboard out of a staff member's hands, an act of direct insubordination and disrespect, the league office has been deafeningly silent.
Shakira Austin at 13 free throws. Angel Reese at 15. Angel at 15 free throws. Last couple of possessions to go. Kiki Riafen is standing with her hands up. Angel Reese just flings herself backwards into Kiki Riafen. Down 2 to draw the foul.
This inaction raises an uncomfortable possibility. Is the WNBA so desperate to protect its new crop of stars that it's willing to ignore behavior that would be punished in any other professional environment? By staying silent, the league is sending a clear message that some players are simply too big to discipline, a precedent that could have disastrous consequences for the professional standards of the entire sport.
I'm not one to blow up negativity, but Angel Reese supposed to be leading young women and being a great example to girls and kids all over the world. Well, I'm here to tell you, she was not leading by example.
Now, think about the other players in that locker room. Imagine you are Camila Cardoso, another high-profile rookie on the team, or a veteran player who has seen what it takes to build a winning culture. You watch your star teammate publicly humiliate a member of the staff and face zero consequences. You see her blame the refs and take no responsibility. How does that make you feel about the team's standards? This is how team chemistry is destroyed. A double standard is the quickest way to breed resentment and shatter a locker room. It creates an environment where there are two sets of rules, one for the star and one for everyone else. This incident isn't just about a broken clipboard, it's about the trust that was just broken between teammates and between players and the coaching staff. That kind of damage isn't easily repaired. And what about the brands? Angel Reese isn't just a basketball player, she is a business. Companies like Reebok, which gave her a signature shoe, and 2K, which put her on the cover of their flagship game, invested millions in her image. They banked on her being a bold, confident, and unapologetic leader. But there is a fine line between being a fierce competitor and being uncontrollably toxic. This public meltdown forces those brands to ask some very tough questions. Does this behavior align with their corporate values? Is this the role model they want representing their products? While controversy can sometimes sell, unchecked chaos can sink a brand. This single act of frustration has now put Reese's multi-million-dollar empire at risk, proving that bad behavior on the court can have very real consequences off of it. So where does this leave the Chicago Sky? They are a struggling team with a 6-13 record, but their problems now run far deeper than wins and losses. They have a star player whose brand seems more important than the team, a rookie coach facing an impossible leadership test, a fractured locker room, and a silent league that appears unwilling to step in. The clipboard incident was not just a moment of frustration, it was a symptom of a much larger disease. It was a test of leadership, accountability, and professionalism for everyone involved. And so far, everyone is failing. The question isn't whether Angel Reese has talent. The real question is whether the culture around her can survive her. Because right now, the Chicago Sky aren't building a championship team. They're starring in a reality show, and this might just be the season finale.